The first fist hit my front door so hard the elk rack above the mantel rattled. And right then I knew this wasn't going to be one of those peaceful mornings you brag about at Thanksgiving. Nah, this was the day. Trouble came calling, wearing knockoff uniforms and a badge you'd buy at a gas station. Before the echo died, a man in a dark jacket kicked the door wide open and 3 more stormed in behind him, red and blue lights flashing through the window from a white SUV out front. You ever have a moment so unreal you think you're dreaming? Because these men, they shouted over each other, police HOA enforcement hands where I can see them. Like this was Miami Vice instead of my lake cabin in the pines. One dude shoved a plastic badge so close to my face I could read the numbers peeling off. Another waved a black rifle that was so spotless it had to be fresh from the box, and suddenly my mother's old woven rug was getting stomped by boots that had no business in this house. I raised my hands slow, keeping my voice steady, because panic, is gasoline. Easy, I said, as calm as pond water at dusk, but my mind was screaming. The leader, he wore wraparound sunglasses. Even though the sun wasn't up enough to see your own feet, he sneered. We have authority from Lakeshore Ridge HOA to conduct a code check and arrest for obstruction. You put up a gate. You blocked the shoreline path. You ignored fines. Now my so-called gate was a wooden crossbar to keep coyotes from eating my chickens and to stop tourists from wandering into my tomatoes. And the shoreline path he mentioned was blueberry bushes, a deer trail, and the edge of my deed, nothing anyone ever wrote a map about. Their patches read Community Safety Unit, but were stitched so crooked you could tell they didn't know a needle from a gun. Real lawmen don't wear sunglasses inside. Real lawmen don't break a mug in your kitchen while calling it an inspection. One guy shouldered past me, knocked a mug to the floor, and coffee sprayed everywhere. Ceramic shards like brown stars on the old pine boards. Then one swept his rifle toward the hallway, and I said, "My niece is in that room. She's 13, his reply. "And what?" He sneered, breathing quick, fast in, fast out. "You'll learn what happens when you cross the HOA. Get on your knees, hands on your head." Out the open door, I saw another truck idling, orange vests, a measuring wheel, and at the end of my drive, I spotted a cream blazer, pearls, and a fake smile. Marjorie West, HOA president, chin up, eyes cold, looking like she owned the sunrise. Another hard shove and a zip tie bit into my wrist, plastic digging deep. The leader leaned close and said, "We're going to make an example of you cabin folks think they're special. You are not special." I shifted my eyes toward the far corner where the iron lever sat under my old fishing net and a faded Academy photo. That lever would drop steel shutters over every window, lock the inner hallway. Never used it. Never wanted to. But some tools exist for days like this. So I moved slow, like I was scared, inching toward that corner, hooked my finger under the net, the leader smirking, thinking I was shrinking. But I yanked the lever, every shutter dropped with a boom steel, slamming out the sunlight hallway door, locking with a final thud. My niece gasped behind the door. The men shouted, someone fell, a rifle clattered, and for a second chaos swallowed us. But let me back up a sec. Because this fight didn't start with steel and shouting. It started with a letter 3 months before stuffed crooked in my mailbox. The paper smelling faintly of perfume, bold print, notice of violation. My fence, 3 posts and wire violated color code 7B. The canoe under the birch counted as stored equipment. The garden gnome, just a silly red-hatted thing, didn't meet decorative standards. Pay $250 and fix it in 7 days. So I went to the office, cheerful ducks painted on the wall. Receptionist chirpy as a cartoon. "You can file an appeal," she said. I did. I used simple words, attached pictures, offered to paint the posts, move the canoe, hide the gnome. 7 lines later, my appeal was denied. Uniformity protects value, they wrote. I paid. I painted. I stowed the canoe. I moved the gnome. Told my niece. Sometimes peace looks like a paintbrush. She rolled her eyes. You're corny, Uncle Ethan, but hugged me long. 2 weeks later came the second letter, then the third. First said the new gate blocked access to a community path that existed only in someone's imagination. Second said my fire pit smoked after 7 p.m., breaking atmosphere rule 3. I kept a smoke log, stopped burning on Saturdays, tried to be a good neighbor, brought cookies to the meeting, wore a clean shirt, talked slow and steady. There's no recorded public path, I said. If there's a misunderstanding, I'm happy to talk. Marjorie smiled like she'd already written the script. Uniformity protects value, she repeated into the microphone. Some faces looked kind, some bored, some just hungry for cookies. After the meeting, I helped a boy fix his bike chain in the parking lot. He grinned, called me Mr. Rode-Off Happy. That's the thing, people aren't boards, people are people. But the letters kept coming. And somewhere in all that, the quiet I'd bought faded thin. Then Tuesday, before all hell broke loose, I saw them. The white SUV cheap magnetic seal community safety unit on the door light bar like it came off eBay. 2 men, dark jackets, measuring my mailbox, my drive the porch steps. I went out hands open. Good morning, can I help you? One answered, We're HOA police. I smiled friendly as I could. No such thing. You might be security, but police matters. Show me the contract. They muttered, We'll be back. And they were. Next day, trucks rolled in. Doors slammed. Zip tie bit. Shutters dropped. In the dark, their voices changed, anger and confusion mixing. The leader yanked my shirt so hard buttons popped. Get those shutters up, another muttered. He's got a panic system in here. I called to Grace. It's okay. Stay put. Remember the drill. We had 2 drills in my house. One for fire, one for bad weather. Both stay low, stay calm. Don't open doors. Wait for the code phrase. Ours was simple apple pie, tastes better warm. The leader threatened, Get those shutters up or I break things you love. I said, You've already started, but you can still stop. He laughed, didn't reach his eyes. He waved a paper. We have an HOA order. That's not a warrant, I said. You need a warrant. He didn't care. Someone tried, a window shutter boomed and held. The leader drove me to my knees, rifle jammed into my collarbone. Last chance, he hissed. I looked him dead in the eye. I saw the twitch, the sunburned line from a cap, the cheap cologne. I pictured Grace behind the door, Mr. Walker at his window. Let's talk outside, I said. Show you the deed make coffee. He sneered, but his voice softened a hair because coffee is human even to fake cops. Then Marjorie's voice snapped from the porch. Do it now. We are within our rights. The leader set a hydraulic breacher against the window. My chest went cold. I warned you'll break the glass and the shutter will hold. He didn't listen. But then through the door a new sound, a cough old and rough. Mr. Walker in his flannel and knit hat had shuffled up, cane in hand, worry on his face. What's all this? He asked, voice shaking. The leader yanked him inside, knocking the cane into the snow. Sit, he barked. Mr. Walker clung to the bench, wide-eyed, terrified. I shouted, Don't touch him. The leader sneered. I'll touch whoever I want. And something inside me drew a line. A heavy knock shook the door. Not a kick. Just one hammer blow, calm and patient. Everyone froze. Another suit. Black truck. No lights. Door swung open. A tall man stepped in. Face shadowed. Simple dark jacket. No badge. No show. Morning, he said, voice quiet. Let's all take a breath. The leader snarled. Who are you? The man's eyes found mine, steady as a lighthouse. Your next mistake if you don't choose right, he said. The leader raised his rifle, and right then my smoke alarm, a rigged sensor. I never talk about, screamed to life, shrill as a banshee. Chaos erupted, men shouting, hydraulic tools shrieking. Grace crying out. I twisted, snapped the zip tie. The leader's rifle swung my way, but the tall man stepped forward, voice low, steady as a mountain, weapons down. Now! The leader laughed, but his grip shook. The tall man opened his wallet. A gold shield flashed. Commander Ryan Keller, State Police, and you just made the biggest mistake of your life. The room froze, but Marjorie screamed from outside. He's lying. He's one of us. She raised a remote, pressed a button. The floor shook. Shutters, rattled engines roared outside. The leader grinned. You think you've won. You don't even know what's coming. The ground trembled, cabin shaking, lights sweeping the snow, big trucks, armored engines wrong for this lakeshore. Security Marjorie called real security, not your state police. The fake cop's confidence returned. You think you've cornered us? No, we've cornered you. Keller held steady. Hold position. Nobody fires unless fired upon. Ethan, get your niece ready. When I give the word, you move. I called to Grace. Remember apple pie tastes better warm? She answered brave as ever. The blast came outside thunder at the lake shutters, rattling, Mr. Walker gasping. Unit 4 status, Keller called. Multiple vehicles, inbound heavy trucks, reinforced panels. The radio answered. My heart hammered. This was war, all because one woman thought rules made her God. Marjorie's voice pierced. You thought you could humiliate me, Ethan. Waving appeals and chilly at the board. Now you'll see what happens when you disrespect authority. I fired back. This isn't authority, Marjorie. This is bullying. Real authority protects, it doesn't destroy. She sneered. Only power matters. But I said power without kindness is just cruelty, and cruelty eats itself in the end. Then deafening screech from hidden speakers, disorienting, drilling into your skull. Fake cops flinched. Mr. Walker clutched his ears. Grace cried out. The scarred leader of the fake cops hesitated, doubt flickering. This wasn't the deal, he muttered. You shut up, Marjorie hissed. The room's fear cracked. I leaned in. You think she cares about you. You're just a tool, not a man. He wavered. Another boom rocked the earth, the attackers moving in. Keller barked, We go through the cellar. Get Grace and Walker out. I'll cover you. We slipped into the tunnel, cold and damp, every step a gamble. Floodlights swept the woods trucks, boxed us in. At the mill we were surrounded, caught in headlights, rifles aimed. The tall, broad-shouldered man demanded hand over the girl. But then a traitor in a state police jacket stepped forward. Someone I once trusted, now grinning, You can't outsmart the Ridge. Just as he raised his rifle at me, chaos exploded, a flare gunshot. And in the scramble, Grace was almost taken, but she shot a man to protect me. Her hands trembling, but her eyes blazing. I hugged her tight. You were brave, braver than anyone. We ran for a ranger outpost, chased by gunfire and flames. The shack caught fire smoke, choking us, shouts outside promising to burn us out. Sirens wailed, but could they reach us in time? When the fire was almost at our backs, Keller burst in his team state police, driving the attackers back. We stumbled out. Miguel wounded Walker near collapse. Marjorie fled in her SUV, screaming, You haven't won, Keller, and I gave chase, trapping her at the Pine Glass Gorge Bridge. She threatened to blow the bridge with a remote, but Keller just told her, We disabled your toys hours ago. Desperate, she drew a pistol. I fired first, her pearls scattering like broken teeth as she fell the remote, dropping into the river. But then we realized the real threat was still out there. The board's cleaner Sutter had vanished into the night. Sniper fire rained from the ridge, pinning us on the bridge. I sprinted for cover, the scarred leader at my side, both of us moving as one. In a final desperate push, we flanked Sutter shots, fired blood on snow. The remote shattered and Sutter's reign ended in the dark. Back at the bridge, Grace ran to me, sobbing Uncle Ethan, and I held her tight, knowing kindness had saved us. Walker smiled through his pain. Miguel was alive, and even the scarred man, once my enemy, had stood with us in the end. We had survived by standing together, neighbors, friends, even those who had lost their way. So let me ask you, what would you have done? What matters more in a world like this, power or kindness? Was I right to fight, or did I just bring more trouble to my door? Drop a comment, share your story, because sometimes justice needs all of us.